I can't believe it was 4-1. Dude, that was like 2 years ago. Not that, this game. Now I'm reliving it. You won't like me when I'm reliving it. You've been reliving it ever since. Woo! Are you just gonna get hammered? Get me a toaster. Magic Angel Robot from Winnipeg.
What the hell are you talking about?
This team is ruining my life. Leafs lose 4-1 to the Boston Bruins. To the Zdeno Chara-less Boston Bruins. Sometimes I talk about the game linearly. This happened, this happened, this happened. Other times there is a theme. The theme of this one is sucking. Actually, no. I'm not even gonna let the Leafs get away with sucking. Look. The Buffalo Sabres, the Carolina Hurricanes, they suck. The Leafs aren't the greatest, but they don't suck like that. And in this game, it didn't even look like they tried. Just so many brutal things. One, we just kept talking about heading into this game, oh, the Bruins don't have Chara. All the while forgetting that the Bruins offense, especially down the middle, eats the Leafs alive. The Leafs are answering to David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron with Tyler Bozak and Nazem Kadri. That's not good enough. And at least freaking top two line, we'll get to that. The whole game looked like they were skating in sludge. I don't like talking about compete level. I think it's a really cheap narrative. I think that people use it when they don't have anything else to talk about. They didn't compete! I think I don't like when people talk about compete level because they abuse it. They use it too much. Now I yell and rant and scream about this team a lot. This is my 8th year. I've made hundreds of these things. How often do I say they didn't even look like they tried? Not very often, and guess what? It didn't even look like they tried. I give Phil Kessel the benefit of the doubt, defend him all the time, game after game after game. There was no Chara. I don't know what was happening, what was going on, but this game should have been Christmas morning for him. Should have been Christmas morning for that whole freaking line. That giant Yeti is out. Johnny Boychuk's gone. You got a barely healthy Dennis Seidenberg playing like half an hour a game. If the Leafs were given that opportunity a couple years ago, they would have just thrown away all their worldly possessions. Here's my black card, the keys to my car, and the keys to my mansion as long as I get one night off from that giant Slovakian Game of Thrones looking mother peep. And this is the effort the Leafs gave. The Bruins deserve some credit. They deserve a lot of credit. They played their game. They made the Leafs play their game. They scored an early goal, which, dumb obvious statement, is the perfect scenario for them, and they just shut it down. The Bruins didn't let the Leafs set up, but it didn't look like the Leafs tried. I hate saying a player or a team doesn't try or doesn't want to win. Of course the Leafs wanted to win this game. I'm just saying, either by the Bruins doing or the Leafs own doing or both, it didn't look like it. David Clarkson, I think he's looked great so far this season. Penalty after penalty after penalty. Again, he's had a great season so far, but in this game, I would have had him riding pine until he smelled like a Christmas tree. By the third period, just have Reimer hanging ornaments on him. Don't put that on my head, man. But it's the star. I just wanted to put on the star. And I said we'd talk about it, so let's talk about the top two lines. Komarov, Santorelli, Clarkson, they've built up enough goodwill this season that they are out of this conversation. We so easily remember the good things that JVR, Bozak, and Kessel do. They score a lot. The other team outshoots them almost every night. I want to say that again so there's no misunderstanding. The other team outshoots them almost every night. And if the other team outshoots your top line almost every night, you are going to lose a crap load of hockey games. I don't care if they all score hat tricks next game and the Leafs win 9-0. Break it up. And then there's Winnick, Kadri, Lupul, which, I mean, I'm not going to dismiss the eye test. I hashtag watch the games. Hasn't looked amazing, but I thought they've looked pretty good. And the numbers are pretty kind to them as well. Pardon my fancy stats, but Daniel Winnick is one of the best possession players on the team. But I also have a hard time saying top line player Daniel Winnick. So what do you think about one of these ideas? JVR, Kadri, Kessel, Winnick, Bozak, Lupul, or Lupul, Kadri, Kessel, JVR, Bozak, Winnick. Obviously, one of the problems with that second one is a couple guys are playing their off wing. I just like the idea of freshening things up with that top line, whether they're scoring or not. And this isn't even picking on Bozak either, because this is now the second or third game where it's been halfway through like the second, and I've been like, oh, JVR's in this game. And then he has some games where he just takes over. This is what a Flyers fan named Jordan Coons warned me about when the Leafs got JVR, is he's either the most dominant player on the ice or invisible. And since he came to the Leafs, I was like, no, he looks pretty damn good. And a lot of nights he does. And other nights I'm like, where'd he go? And another thing, as long as I'm on a roll, why don't the Leafs have a fourth line? Now I asked the question, I will answer it. The fourth line has not been good. Richard Panik scored tonight. The fourth line has not been good. So the Leafs have been doing something I've been fully behind. Play 7 defensemen. Hey, certainly worked out last game. And I'm not even going to get into the argument of, oh, maybe the top 3 lines are getting tired or this or that. I'm getting super nitpicky now, but what the hell was the Matt Fratton trade for? They traded Jerry D'Amigo, who in his brief stint with the Leafs looked pretty good. We know he can kill penalties. He draws a lot of penalties. They traded him and a pick for Matt Fratton, a player who, from what I've seen, they don't even want. It has just made 0 sense so far. So I'm obviously not saying the reason the Leafs are losing is because they got rid of Jerry D'Amico. No, of course not, but I want to know why they did that. And last video I was so happy and in this one I'm so miserable, and it's amazing what one game does. Let me get to that. I'm no psychologist. I'm certainly no NHL player. I've never played in a locker room. I'm not in their heads. But consider this. After 7 games, the Leafs sit 3-3-1. Pretty ho-hum. A lot of restless fans, you know, because the Leafs haven't been very good for very long. Doesn't help that they haven't looked very good at home at all. They have a golden opportunity to beat a team that always beats them, partially because they're facing a lot of injuries, but who cares? A win's a win. In front of a national audience on Hockey Night in Canada, and they go to 4-3-1. 1 game over 500. And that may not seem like a big deal to you, but that one game, that one beautiful number 4 looks like a 40 to some people. And you go forward with your last 2 games being you kicking the Islanders' ass and then you beating your rivals in front of everybody. Instead, with the whole country watching on your home ice, you get embarrassed by an injured team and you get booed off the ice. Here's the reverse of that. The Boston Bruins, the oh woe is me Boston Bruins. 4-5, they are not looking good this year. Pretty ho-hum record, middle of the pack. Tuukka Rask is looking pretty human. They've already been missing Johnny Boychuk, and then Chara is out 4 to 6 weeks. Are you kidding me? OMG, are the Bruins even gonna make the playoffs? But then you got a team the Bruins usually beat in the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then, oh my goodness, they lost. They lost to the Leafs? And now they're 2 games below 500? Oh my god, how screwed is this team? Instead, and you could see it on Dougie Hamilton's face with that goal he scored, things are gonna be alright. Hey guys, that was fun! Hey, you know what? It sucks the Chara's out, but we'll get through this. We can do this! You know what this game was, Leaf fans? Do you know what it was? It was the 4-2 goal by Lucic in Game 7. And now they think they can beat anybody. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they'll go on to get their asses kicked and completely whiff on the playoffs, or maybe they won't. So again, not a psychologist, not a beat reporter that's in the locker room before and after every game, and it's only 1 game, but what a difference 1 game makes. Now, I hate that rant against the Leafs to be the thing that transitions into this, but unfortunately, they were bad. Yesterday, I drove from Oshawa, Ontario to my parents' house in Scarborough. I took the 401, very busy highway. Lots of bridges over that highway. And every single bridge for kilometers and kilometers, miles and miles, lined with people waiting for Nathan Cirillo. People waiting, some by themselves, some with their entire family. Some young, some old. Some with signs, some with flags. And even though it was such a beautiful thing to look at, it was sad because of what it was for. But then this great feeling came over me because it helped me remember something. Canada kicks ass. And you know what makes it kick ass? Canadians. And that means you, whether you got here yesterday or on your birthday. Don't let anybody tell you any different.